WEBC Carmelo, the pastor of Payne alongside Christian Miller. I can't reach him because he's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. Noah Rogers, and we get his last name from there.
Yes.
This week is in the house on the board. Just talking to my man Justin Jones. He's hanging out. He might be on his way to the gym. I don't know if he's getting a good workout in. He's got the hoodie on and his slides ready to go there and try to rack 225. But, hey guys, hope you're doing well. Got it for them, played at South Carolina, played with Green Bay and in the league for 7 years or so. He works for them, scouting players. He's got a good idea about all your Alabama Crimson Tide players. We'll catch up with him. Not today. I'm probably going to hold him off till tomorrow to talk about how your Alabama football players are doing down in Mobile, Alabama. I know coaches will show up. The question is, will Nick Saban show up? Justin and I, Christian, was just talking about Nick Saban. Listen, Nick don't care nothing about Alabama football no more. If Nick Saban hanging out with 50 Cent and all them rappers that be cussing on their records and all that, Nick done changed. Nick Saban done changed, bro. Nick Saban is in the rap. I mean, he used to tell me, Corey, every morning, I got my same playlist, and Darius Rucker's one of my favorite guys, I get my moon pies and I get my Mercedes and drive to work. I listen to Darius every morning. But now, Nick Saban, the GOAT, is listening to 50 Cent. Hey, Noah, can you give me something with 50 Cent just so people know? I know we got a lot of older listeners there in Tuscaloosa that love the time, but let them know who he was playing with. Can you give me something? I know I'm kind of doing it right off the grip, but let the people know what Nick Saban now listens to when he guys do. I don't know.
Well, that's where they're hanging out at. There's a golf man.
Can you see Coach Saban, Miss Terry, he does the wobble. Kudos to Nick Saban. Nick Saban went to rap.
And we got this right this time. I remember I jumped the gun when I saw Kristen's tweet about Coach Saban at the beach in the water boogie board, and that was old.
Yeah.
This is not old. He actually was golfing with 50 Cent, not only 50 Cent, but also Travis Scott, another very more of a modern rapper, if you will. But yeah, man, good for Coach Saban, man.
Some might say a better rapper.
That's debatable.
Coach rapping? Hey, Noah, I'm gonna call you again. Give me something off the grip. But the guy he actually was playing with, Travis Scott. Let people know who he was listening to with Travis Scott.
Killing me with the copyrights early this morning.
I mean, Travis Scott's my dude. But let the folks know what Nick Saban was. You can put your Bluetooth in your golf cart. We don't play golf without music anymore. I mean, it's a thing now, right? You got cigars. You got your Bluetooth.
Just do me a favor. Turn your volume on your computer down so I can let your mic play, so we don't get copyrighted. If you can, while he plays it, just turn the volume down on your computer.
We got to get all this. We're about mine is down. It's all the way down.
All right,
go. Give me some Travis Scott, please.
He's low. Do you know Travis Scott? I'm surprised you know him.
Oh, there you go. I mean, how cool is the coach? Imagine you had a head coach like that full time now recruiting every player. There you go. That's my man Steve in the background jamming 50 Cent. But that's pretty cool though, right? That he's enjoying, retirement, going out to golf, and he's hanging out with people like he probably never would normally hang out with. Can you imagine? They're like, we go play these celebrity programs. You always look like who's your partner gonna be, right? He gets 50 Cent or he gets Travis Scott. That's pretty cool.
That is cool. But good for him, though. I'm glad he's enjoying it. But you mentioned, will he be at the Senior Bowl? I think he will probably take a trip down there. He still has his guys. You've got Chris Braswell, Justin Boygbeat. I don't even have the list pulled up. I'm just going off the top of my head. Probably several others. I'm sure Will Riker's down there as well. But I wouldn't be surprised if he takes a trip down there. I definitely think Coach DeBoer will take a trip down there. Michael Penix, his former quarterback, is down there. So I'll be honest, though. I mean, I feel like this Senior Bowl has got a lot of good football players. And I mean, if you go back to the history of it, man, I mean, so much talent, man, through the years has gone down to Mobile. And Jim Nagy does such a great job of putting on a great event. Like you said, South Alabama does a nice job holding the event. But Jim Nagy, man, he's phenomenal at running it and getting guys down there, letting them showcase their abilities. I unfortunately couldn't physically play in the Senior Bowl because I had torn my hamstring against Oklahoma and was still recovering from that. But I was still able to go down there. I was invited to go down there. I can't remember which team it was called, but my coaching staff was the 49ers, and the linebacker coach for me down there was actually D'Amico Ryans. And, he's, man, just being able to, pick his brain and be in that meeting room with him. And even though it was just for a few days, man, it was an invaluable experience. And I was really appreciative of Jim Nagy and everybody for putting that event on. But just, kind of basically giving anybody out there a visual or an idea how it works. I mean, you get down there as an athlete, you're meeting with all these NFL personnel and staffers, right? I mean, GMs, coaches, scouts, you name it. They're asking you all types of questions. I mean, anything and everything. But it's really good, though. And it's previewing you for what's to come. It's preparing you for that next level. We'll have to see if we can get Chris Braswell on here. I'm sure I know he's busy, but maybe we can squeeze a couple minutes out of him, kind of get him to come talk on the show about his experience down there. But, just a really good experience for a lot of guys to showcase their abilities. And look, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of guys that go down there that really improve their draft stock. I think Chris Braswell is a guy who could really benefit from that. I mean, you're talking about, I'm not saying limited production in college because he was extremely productive his final year, but he was like me, had to wait his turn, right? Then you still had a guy like Dallas Turner around who received a lot of attention. So Chris is a guy I feel like he's just scratching the surface. And this is a phenomenal opportunity for him to go down there and compete against some of the best guys in the country. I was listening to T-Town Sports Daily, the show before us, and I think they're saying, I mean, one team, the quarterback roster is Penix, Bo Nix, Sam Hartman. I mean, you talk about star-studded, right? So a lot of good talent down there in Mobile right now, and I'm excited for this week just because it's closer. This draft time is always fun. It's exciting to kind of get into it. Everybody's Mel Kiper, all these people coming up, all these boards.
God, it gets on my nerves.
No, it gets annoying, but at the same time, it's fun to see guys' lives change because you've been through it, I've been through it, and it truly is a once in a lifetime experience. And it's just fun to see like guys, they put in all this work for this moment. And I just remember how much it was for me, just so much going on. I almost think it was, I almost would say it was way more than recruiting, right? Like recruiting felt like a lot because you're young, right? You're transitioning to a grown man. You're making like big life decisions. This is kind of out of your control. Recruiting, like you get to choose, right? You get to pick where you're going if you're fortunate and have,
Right.
offers. This is like you have no control over it. It's like they are really trying to get to know you to a T. So just a fun overall experience, but definitely
Well,
a little stressful.
here's how the NFL and draft works. I mean, they are going to try to find something, right? Something so they don't have to draft you as high.
Exactly.
They're trying to take away from your draft status, right?
Yeah.
And it's what bothers me. Now we're going to talk about, Michael Penix Jr.'s, his hands they're somewhat small. Well, it's only 6 2/3. Blah blah.
The hand size.
I mean, is the football bigger? I mean, that's a different shape. A little. Come on, people. I mean, this gets pathetic. I mean, but it goes to show you, and we'll talk about this during the combine. And you go in there, socks, jocks, and t-shirts, and all these grown men with microphones in there looking you up and down. Like, normally, like I'd be like, dude, what you looking at? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they got the dictaphone, they talking, and they got the cell phones out videoing you from the front and the back, and like, dude, really? I mean, but it just goes to show you that you are just like livestock. You're just an animal, right? They just let it a number a quarter turn to your right, make a quarter turn to your left. Back up one step. I mean, what are you looking at? Really? Did you not see the daggone film? Did you not watch the game? Did you see me just run by that corner that you got ranked number 2 in the draft? Did you watch the game? You see, for me, that's nice.
You know what I wonder? Yeah. You know what I wonder? What do they do with the tape? So I don't know if they did this for you, but I was at the combine I mean, one of the many facets, like all the things they had us doing, we had to go strip down our compression shorts, right? And I'm not making this up. You get in front of like a camera. Like, it sounds crazy, but you get in front of a camera and like they like have you do your wingspan, like they get it like picture, I guess, or video, whatever, from the front, turn to the side, like it gets like your whole stature. And I'm like, man, what am I? What are y'all doing with this video? Like what? Like, you know, I not feel comfortable with that
we
part.
live in a weird world today. Like, hey, bro, can you like burn that thing? Hey, let me stop. I get myself in trouble because it's too much, right? It's just too much what goes into the whole evaluation of athletes. To me, it should be 90% on the table. Big eye in the sky, it does not lie. That's still true today. If a guy can play football, he can play football. Oh, he's just a smidge under 6 foot tall. He played in the SEC. They had 6'6" miles linemen, and he threw the ball just 75. He got a 6'8" completion percentage. And why can't you do in national football? Just let me be honest, it's not that big. I mean, except you got the best in the world. And the best in the world might be on the best.
You know what we should do? We should try to measure up some of these, like if people got it right or wrong. We should look at last year's draft class. Let's say Alabama, please.
I'm telling you,
and let's see who played up to expectation. Let's do that. Let's pull up. I can tell you one thing. 2 Bama guys lived up to the hype. Brian Branch, Jameer Gibbs. They got those guys right.
They are guys, by the way, that I said that would live up to the hype. You know why? Because I watched it. It's the eye test. It's what I've seen. The big eye in the sky don't lie. But these guys, they go, oh, how big your hamstrings are. Oh, you got flat feet. That ain't like being again. I mean, come on, guys. When we come back, though, Kool-Aid McKinstry, I'll talk more about him because Kuiper, we talked about this last week, doesn't have him in his mock draft in the first round. Now, I know a lot of you think Kool-Aid was that. Y'all got on me. You said, Corey, but Kool-Aid, they not throwing his way. And I was telling you, Kool-Aid McKinstry took a step backwards. Why? Because I watched the game. And I thought that he might have had a couple of nice penalty team working with the pressure box. Looked like he gained a few pounds. And I said that Terry Arnold, I thought, outplayed him. No. I kind of hate the man Mel Kiper. We'll talk about that. Can Kool-Aid work himself back into that first round? Or is he a second, third round? Maybe it's a safety. Maybe he's a little bit too big. We'll discuss right here in those days. Tide 100. 9:30 a.m. WTBC. The phone calls too. We'll get those 205 or 299. Don't forget to download the app. Tide 100.9 is absolutely free. The best reader in all of the state of Alabama, Noah Rogers. You're gonna read those things. We got a lot to get into the program today. I want you to invite me back to that. Play some rap music. Nick, probably making some happens. And that real expensive burger, you don't know about that. You just said you would never happen.
Right.
You'd be like, give me some.
Not stingy. It's called being frugal. Financially aware.
Give me some of that bobble.
I'll take all that. What's up, everybody? Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday so far. Appreciate everybody in here. You guys know the drill. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. Is the audio better now, guys? I know I saw somebody saying that. I think the audio was a little distorted. Is it better now? I think Joe said it's better. Corey's audio is in and out. Steven says roll tide. Joey says yes. Yeah, that's why I try to tell him. So he's got a different mic setup. That's why I always try to tell him to kind of like, speak forward. But he's very animated and moves around a lot. So sometimes that probably is part of it. He doesn't like taking direction from me, as you guys can imagine. I think it's a pride thing. I'm a little bit better with the tech side of things. Let's see what we have in here. Joey. I gotta is it Yakengi? Yakenji? Tell me if I'm pronouncing that right. Is it Yakengi? I know you're always in here. Flowers. I can just call you Flowers to keep it simple, but I know you're always in here. Appreciate you hanging out with us. Jeremy's in here. POP won't listen. No, he won't, man. I mean, you guys hear it, man. You know how he is. His personality, man. He's in his own ways, man. I try to help him out with the tech side of things. He don't want to hear it, man. You can't tell him nothing. We got Arthur in here. What's up, Arthur? Headset solve all of that. Yeah, trust me. I'm trying to get him, John.
And we're back here at the Miller's Edge on the time, 1:19 Eastern time. That'll be 12:19 for Christian and Noah Rogers down in Tuscaloosa. Hope you're doing well on this Talking Tuesday. We're talking about Nick Saban playing golf with rappers. What's that's going to be like in that $17.589 whatever $million Jupiter home that he just retired to. Got office back there at Bryant Stadium. Not too sure he's caring too much about that right now. We do want to get to Mel Kiper and his mock draft. How much do you buy in that? That's my question I'm throwing out there to you. Do you care about what Todd McShay, Mel Kiper, and the many other prognosticators of the NFL draft? And a lot of people actually pay money to see where they put these players. I put nothing into what they're saying about this draft because they are always wrong. So going to be very interesting. Quarterbacks this year. We talked about the Senior Bowl that's going on. Practice is happening right now down in Mobile. Hey, that's South Alabama University, by the way. I think his coordinator's from South Alabama. I bet he'd go back down to his stomping grounds. But we have players there. We'll talk about those. Christian said he is going to effort Chris Braswell, see if we can get him and see how his week is going. A guy that seems to try to use that situation this week to build up his draft status. I think that's going to be good for him. I don't think the game matters too much at all. I think what's going to happen, the scouts and people are looking at practice. They're looking at the one-on-ones. They're looking at the one-on-one pass pros. And that's what they want to see is a guy got good feet. How's his hips? All the different things that you won't really get a chance to see in the game. The practice when you go to these bowl games. I know I went to one my senior year. The practices of where the coaches are, the scouts are, they're looking at those things. They're looking at, what kind of things that you can do that they may not get a chance to see on a Saturday afternoon. But we'll get into some of that too as well. Quick news note right here for SEC fans, and my friend Steve Lane drove up from Myrtle Beach today, helps me with my ministry and my fundraiser. He's in town, sitting here listening, and he went to Tennessee. Good old Rocky Top. Woo! Well, Tennessee is under investigation by the NCAA for what is believed to be alleged, keyword, circle it, folks, alleged major violation related to NIL. So it's confirmed as CBS Sports. The case is believed to center around quarterback Nico Lama-Leva and Spry. Whatever, and Spry Sports Group. I never heard of them. That's the largest collective. I talked about Tennessee has the most money. I told you they got banging with cash out of Tennessee. So that is very interesting to see. We've heard about what happened at Florida. They have some things going on there. Now we're starting to see the NCAA starting to get very nosy as it pertains to NIL.
Good. And
what they're doing from collectives because they're saying right now, these are major. That's a big word, major. Let's see here. Barrett Salee on his Twitter says a lack of structure within the NIL space began when states, they passed some different laws. So you remember Tennessee, some of the states, Georgia just passed a law, I believe, that some of the guys in high school could get NIL deals. Some states can't, and that's been a disadvantage. So we'll see. before we get to Mel Kiper, Christian, this is pretty major news to me because we've talked about and we joke around, what the collectives are doing. I work with the collective and all that good stuff, so I understand this. When you talk about major violations, when you talk about doing something that's kind of way out there, I don't know what that is. I'm thinking if what Barrett Sallee had just suggested, that means maybe they gave money to in this case, the quarterback Nico Lamaleva from this Spry Sports Group, which now, here we go. All these different groups are getting involved, marketing groups, agents, if you will, being a part of the situation. You're going to begin to see some things get messed up. Anytime you put agents and groups involved, marketing, instead of just doing simple deals, we're going to see some stuff right here get messed up.
Yeah, and then I think that's the result of a lack of parameters, a lack of guidelines, a lack of structure with NIL, right? I mean, maybe they didn't necessarily know what was allowed and what wasn't allowed, but at the end of the day, they need to come up with something, whether that's the NCAA, whether that's some type of federal legislation, something that's fair for all states. Because like you said, some states were allowing some schools or some people to pay this or pay that. But you hit the nail on the head, and, with these agencies or, whether it's an agent, a marketing agency, I hate to say it, but I'm not saying they're exploiting kids, but I mean, they're looking for their payday as well, right? I mean, they make it seem like, oh, we're trying to help the guys out, but realistically, they're looking for themselves to be able to capitalize off of it. But I'm not shocked by this. I mean, if you guys aren't familiar with Nico Lamaleva, I know he was a 5-star quarterback coming out of high school. He was number 1 or number 2, depending on what site, quarterback prospect in the 2023 class. So he was with the team, I believe, last season. I think he just was behind Joe Milton. Saw him in the bowl game. Looked good, and a lot of people are excited about him. So we'll see what comes of it. I see somebody in our YouTube chat mentioned also looking at Ohio State. Definitely probably want to there. I mean, if the numbers are accurate that they've dished out, $13 million plus, that probably, deserves some type of probing, not to be a snitch or anything. But I mean, I'd imagine that you might want to at least look into it. But speaking of Ohio State, it's something we could talk about too. I don't know if you saw, and I'll give you time at least during this next break, maybe pull it up. Caleb Downs, I think, had his first media session with the media at Ohio State. And there was a lot of talk about kind of his responses. I think some of it was, well, it depends how you read it. There was talk about what he learned from Coach Saban. And one of those things was commitment, right? If you go and look at the full quote, it's basically saying a commitment to excellence, right? A commitment to being dedicated to doing the things that you need to do to be great. That's what he meant by it. Obviously, a lot of Alabama fans, were offended by it because when they see the word commitment connected with Caleb Downs, don't really go hand in hand right now. But I get what he was saying, but obviously it almost is like, yeah, you probably shouldn't have used that word. Name some other things you learned from Coach Saban, but leave out the word commitment right now, because that is a fair point. I get people's point. I mean, they feel like he was not committed to his teammates by choosing to transfer. Now, again, that was his right. He had the choice to do that, but his teammates and others are allowed to have the opinion.
What do you mean he wasn't committed? He was committed. He was committed when Coach Nick Saban, the GOAT, was a part of the program.
Right.
When the GOAT left and things changed, how can you stay committed? You have to look at every single option.
No, and right? That's why I said he had that opportunity. Yeah. That's his. But some would argue he was not committed to his teammates and his brothers. Listen. No. I mean, I could understand that perspective, because he did have a lot of close friends, teammates, whatever. Now he has the opportunity, and it's totally on him to do what he feels is best for him, right, in his future. I'm not going to be mad at a guy like that. Like, everybody knows I played here. Yeah. If I was on the team and this situation is going on, obviously I would be a guy that would stay. Like, I'm just telling you right now, I would stay here. I would finish it out. Right.
I don't think you can say that right now when that money's out there.
No, I can say that. I'm saying, all right, if I was a freshman,
Ohio State,
listen. If
$500,000 and Bama offered you $100,000 to stay and continue to be an edge starter, and Ohio State said, "Man, hey, we got space for you. You be a starter. Here's $500,000 per year plus whatever other NIL entries that you make for yourself. You're telling me as let's call you 20 years old.
No, that's what I need to know. What year am I? What year am I in this situation?
Okay, you're redshirt sophomore. You're 20 years old.
Dang, you split it right down the middle. Come on, man.
You got $100,000. You love Alabama. You love Nick Saban, the Miss Terry, the electric slide, the wobble, Travis Scott, and everybody else. All of them, mom and them, and everybody. Listen here. I wish you would come in the house talking about, I'm going to stay at Alabama. What? And you got truck payments,
hear me out.
$400,000 per year.
I hear what you're saying.
That's $1.2 million. I love Alabama, but can you pay me $1.2 million?
I hear what you're saying, but here's the thing. You said redshirt sophomore, so you couldn't put me in a bind. You split it, right? I was going to say, if I was young, are we going to talk about exactly how my career went? Because I was about to say, when I got there, I knew I was redshirt, so I redshirted my freshman year. I was small, had to develop physically. We all know that. Redshirt freshman year, I was a special teams player, right? I still was behind, golly, Denzel Duvall, Brian Anderson, Tim Williams. I mean, we had all type of guys, right? I mean, there was still tons of people right there, right? So if it was in that situation, and you're talking about the money aspect of it, I probably would definitely consider, just because that was that.
Consider.
But listen,
what do you mean consider?
That's a different situation though. I'm like on the 3 deep, right? And then you're saying Coach Saban left. That's different. I would definitely probably enter the portal and consider that. That's different. Now, let's just say hypothetical. Now, if I was older, like my junior year when I was a starter, my junior year and I was a starter, no, I probably would just stay. If I'm being honest with you, I probably would stay because listen.
So $400,000.
A $400,000 difference.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, that's tough. But I feel like they at least tried to offer him close to what he was getting. It's not what's wrong with me. It's just like, personally, I don't like a ton of change. I really don't. I don't. Dude, I went to the same elementary school, same middle school, same high school.
What that got to do with $400,000?
Because then I'm having to pick up and leave and restart, meet a whole bunch of new people and stuff like that.
I got 400,000 reasons on how I can pick up and restart.
I get what you're saying, but the way I think about it is, if I'm just patient, first of all, I can do things outside of the preset NIL deals to earn some more money. Right, I can run some camps. I can do some signings. I can create some merch. So I'm gonna try to compensate. Listen. Because I chose to come here and I'm with my brothers. I'm with my teammates. So that's what I'm saying. I'll try to compensate the best that I can. But also, I'll know if I stay here and I grind and do everything that I need to do, I'm setting myself up to make money in the National Football League. That's me. That's my opinion.
You got less than 1% chance to make it.
I totally understand that. I'm just saying, personally,
I'm gonna give you the 2 year. This still $800,000. Come on, man.
Yeah, listen, I get it.
Do y'all know how hard it is to make money?
I hear that.
It's not promised to you. I mean, come on. Yeah. And all these people tell me, you're not committed to your teammates. Let me tell you something. When you broke and can't pay that car bill, I've been letting pay folks on YouTube extra writing you a check. How many players for your last school? How many when your legs get ready to cut off? How many of them gonna tell you, you're not committed? Oh, you gonna call them, hey, I was committed. I wouldn't kill it down, but I was committed to Alabama. But now I'm broke. I got hurt and I can't play no more. Where are people out that's gonna help you out? Not saying all these folks, I'm just being real. For me, I'm saying right now, 100 versus 500. I'm still cool with you, dude. We're going to get together in the offseason. Hey, you know what? I see that in Atlanta. What about LA? Can you meet me in LA? What about Miami? I'll be down there in the offseason. Y'all come in. Oh, y'all ain't getting no money. Y'all can pay for the plane ticket. But I will be out in Miami if y'all want to take the car and drive me. We're cool. We're cool, my boys. So my thing is NIL makes something different. I know Alabama's a great school. And he got that great teammate, Christian. He's committed. But things change. The people he committed to gone. Maybe they're not committed. Did you think they could win this little one for that? And the dad asked Gary, my teammate Gary Dawson, People say you're not gonna be there for 3 or 4 years. And Nick said, you know, man, I'm gonna be there. Right? I'm still young. I still shoot threes, baby. I'm still playing basketball. I'll be a team center. Nick lay him down? Yes. Go make the money. No, I'm saying. You're a good dude, Christian, but you ain't turning down no 400,000. I ain't gonna lie to you, but I was like, you might beat me up now. You come and tell me you have $800,000 on the table? Man, you got to fight, bro.
I mean, that's
you might beat me up. I'll take
that,
the L
I mean,
for $800,000.
But again, I've never been driven strictly by money, though. Really, I mean, people that know, I'm definitely financially aware. I'm smart. I like to invest. I like to make money, but I'm not.
That ain't smart.
Who said it's not smart? If you know how to make money on the back end, that's different. I'm just saying, I'm not. I would never choose. I don't know. That's I think of things past.
Boy, God, thank you for giving me a beautiful, awesome young man. But Lord, sometimes you like the Lord, you know that man that was.
But again, though, that's not even. But that's not even. But listen, the hypothetical. Listen,
Lord, I thought I was a righteous man. I did right. What did you say, man? Because of God, I sent you a boat. I said, I gave you every reason not to drive. But no, you know how to drive. I swim my way there. I'm just saying, man. This is what we're dealing with. I'm making fun, but this is what we're dealing with. And people
I hear that, and that's part of the problem. What's wrong with it? We got too many people that are driven by the wrong thing. They put their focus and attention in the wrong thing.
That is a root of all this.
It is. We'll see. I know a lot of people that have made a lot of money and don't have nothing left to them. See how far that got them.
Same people that tell you that you're not. They driven by the same thing. They want that money. But it feels like I don't make it. All you people that I'm staying here for, I'm gonna develop a fund over here. Put the extra 400,000 for a fund, and I'll get it later on that time.
I guess it's different because I know how to make money, right? Like I know how to do that. I can make money, if you get what I'm saying. So I'm not really tripping on that.
I will fight people until you're right. I'll ask you.
I can show you.
As my mama said, boy, I bought you the world, and I'm gonna take you out. Now we gotta break. That's gonna put it right up.
Are you receiving unemployment? Your benefits.
He's trying to show out because he got his little friend with him. That's all that is. But the thing that he's throwing out is not even like accurate. It's not like, oh, they're paying 500, paying 100. That's why I was saying depending. Like my career was different. Like I knew I was going to wait my turn. I knew things. I'm saying just like look. I think it boils down to this: if you're a young guy, you came here to play with Coach Saban and all that good stuff. If you want to enter the portal, we talked about this, but just as a reminder, and I think OJ Howard said the same thing. Like us players, I think all have the same mindset. If you're young, you came to play for Coach Saban, he leaves, you still got multiple years of eligibility left. You want to explore your options. Cool. I think that makes perfect sense. That's why I said initially when this happened, you really need to hold on to the younger guys. But if you're a veteran, you're established here, and you only got 1 year, maybe 2 left, I mean, it's really not going to make that huge of a difference because what I'm saying is I'm telling you, there's other ways to make money on the back end. That's a good point, Arthur. So I think everything varies, but typically, yeah, they try to spread it out through the course of 4 years, however long you're here. However, these guys that are going in the portal, like some of these bigger name guys, they definitely are getting a lump sum up front. Almost like a signing bonus. That's why it all sounds like free agency. Saying never threw a pass in an actual game. Downs has some experience. So saying doesn't. Yeah, but when you got that number one quarterback ranking next to you, man, people are willing to pay.
Yeah, I giggling like two little girls.
Yeah, he grew up giggling like two girls. But the thing is, like, he said, but what about the live folks? It's the same thing. Like, hey, Tiger Woods can be committed to the PGA. Tiger Woods a billionaire, right? Those guys that have solidified themselves in the PGA, man, hey, man, I ain't going over there. Well, Phil Mickelson lost a lot of money gambling. He's a gambler. I mean, that's we tell them breaking news here. But Dustin Johnson, Harold Varner, somebody from Alabama that just decided to go pro, just won the tournament. He could pick up his $1.5 million bag, right? Second place person got his $1.5 million bag. So if LIV come to him, a hot star like he is, Nick Dunlap, that's who I'm talking about, I'm referencing him, and they offer him $60 million to come to Live Tour, guess what? If I'm his dad and he tell me, well, Arnold Palmer and, he's up Sam Snead to give me all the history of the PGA, are them dudes gonna give you any money? Right? If you could go over here and make generational money, wearing shorts, no cuts, they got bands out on the golf course.
That's totally different.
No, I'm
totally
just saying the points are the same.
You're talking about grown men just choosing which league they want to play in. I get that.
I'm talking about money.
PGA is a
I'm
legacy
speaking of the
thing,
money,
and
not the
I
league that I want to play in. It's all about the money. Because
that's different.
If all things equal, I would stay on the PGA Tour because it's been.
Well, yeah, who wouldn't? Yeah, I mean, it's the legacy of it. You want to be a part of that legacy.
Harold Varner, who's been around doing okay, but all of a sudden he's able to make $30 million, bro, and ain't got to worry about no cuts. I mean,
you're comparing apples to oranges. You're talking about a $30 million increase in salary or whatever you want to call it. We're talking about the scenario you threw out isn't really accurate, right? Like 500,000 versus 100,000. I get what you're saying. If you're just saying a $400,000 difference,
I'm just throwing numbers.
$400,000 is a lot less than $30 million, right? And also, it's not like an allegiance to like PGA is PGA, but it's not. This is different. I'm talking about being in school with people, just like you always say, like you want to have a place that you can call home. All I'm saying is if I've been at a place 3 years and I only got 1 year left of eligibility, and you're talking about the difference is $100,000, couple $100,000, and I know I can hold a camp.
And if I know I can play pro ball, that's totally different. If I'm in my senior year, right, I know that, hey, I got my grade back from the NFL, Coach Saban, or whomever, came on the board to say, you're going to be a second round. I can look at what the money looks like, blah, 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 blah. I'm going to make sure the school purchased me my insurance. And if I'm missing out on 100,000 stacks for that year, I can make that up. I'm just saying, but Caleb Downs is not he's a freshman, soon to be sophomore. That's a freshman All-American, right? These are real numbers. So if Ohio State's offering him 800,
but let me ask you this though, because I thought you said with him it's not about money though. Even though I know money played a role, but no, don't make that face. We can pull up the whole show. You said it's not about money with him. I played with his dad. You said that on the show. So I'm
saying that wasn't a driving force. I'm saying the fact that Nick Saban left it. Listen, these guys put their faith in Nick Saban. They didn't put their faith in Kalen DeBoer. They don't even know Kalen DeBoer. I respect Kalen DeBoer, and I think he's going to have to earn his way to be who I think he can be. But as it stands right now, he hasn't done anything in the SEC. I mean, he has to earn that. We can talk about it, and as a fan, it's easy for us to get on fanboy radio and throw stats at you all day long, right? And tell you, oh, he got this guy on the stage. Oh, he got this guy. Have you seen this record? And that's what people are doing right now. But if we're honest with ourselves, we're saying he's got to prove himself because we know the SEC is a whole nother level, and that's a different brand of football.
Right. Now,
I hope we're saying, and I hope people are saying, Corey, I told you so. I hope that. But I'm just saying, Caleb Downs is Nick Saban's guy. Them guys, Nick Saban, they came to school. Alabama brand is beautiful. We know that. I mean, nobody's denying that. And I told you that. And I stand by telling the kid you go to school for 30, 40, 50 years. They say we go 2 or 3. That's what they're saying now. They reveal their hats. Oh, for the next 2 to 3 years, I'll be wearing, Clemson Tiger or Gamecock, whatever it is. Come on, man. But now money changes things. And the game has changed, right? And
Right.
people are going to cheat. They've been cheating. I mean, they were cheating when I was in school.
Right.
I
think to your point, I mean,
yeah.
that's why I said, and this is just if we're speaking facts here, a place like Ohio State, I would have said Michigan, but a place like Ohio State or Georgia, those two programs right now, you probably feel a little bit better about being a title contender right now than Alabama at the moment, just given the state of the program with us losing some folks and new coaching staff. You got to iron some things out, which is fine. I still think we're going to have a great year. Like I said last week, I think 9 wins is the floor, in my opinion. I think the floor is 9 wins, meaning that I feel like that I don't see us lose or winning any less than that.
Right.
But again, we're talking about, and you might be able to sneak in the playoffs. So I still think 10 wins is a number to be in the playoff picture, right? Maybe there might be 1, maybe 2 teams, 9 wins that sneak in there. I mean, we could just look at last year's college football rankings and kind of see that would give us kind of an idea, because it's going to 12 teams, right? The playoffs will be at 12 teams. So last year, the 12th team was LSU, and they had a record of 10-3. I guess that includes the bowl game, right? So yeah, so 10 wins. I'm assuming. Well, I guess 9 before the bowl game. So like 9. We'll say 9.5 is like that number to make the playoffs, right? So that being said, I mean, Alabama still, if you win 9 games, that's your floor. You still have a shot. But I'm just saying,
my floor.
You said what?
That's my floor, 9-3.
Yeah, I think 9-3 is a floor. I mean, we looked at this and we just to refresh. I mean, you got Georgia at home. Right before that, you go on the road to Wisconsin. You play a good Missouri football team who finished in the top 10. I think at number 8. They come to Tuscaloosa. You also go on the road to play LSU and Tennessee. Those are going to be 2 tough games. Coach DeBoer and his staff, besides the guys that were retained or the guys that have had SEC experience, it's going to be their first time playing in that big game, at least as an Alabama staffer. And we know what that entails. At least I do, as a former player. Those are always tough games going on the road, except my senior year when we went on the road to Baton Rouge and we shut them dudes out. They had everybody on the sidelines, Big Shaq, Odell, all them people, and they're doing all that hoopla before the game, but then they got a big fat goose egg when the clock hit 0. But it's going to be tough environments. Then you also go on the road to Oklahoma. Then you got the big Iron Bowl matchup, Auburn. But listen, it is what it is.
If Kalen DeBoer goes 9-3 without, I mean, there's more guys going to leave.
Yeah,
more guys will go to spring practice
spring.
And they're going to figure out, well, I ain't got no spot. And I'm second or third team. They're going to leave. But they got to be able to go pluck some guys when the transfer portal opens back up. So,
which they will.
We're not going to know what this roster is going to look like. It don't even matter right now. Right. It's so different come August, right? They get back. It'll look so much different. So I don't even think we need to worry ourselves with that. Here's all I'm saying. You got to be ready to, if you're here, be ready to play. And coach whoever's here. But I think the first year, and I'm asking the callers and listeners this on YouTube Extra and on Tide 100, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. Do you even really care about the first year? Because you can almost give him a pass. He's got a he's got a free, preordained pass, in my opinion. So we can say it's a 9 win, 10 win. Are we really going to judge him whatever it looks like? If he goes, 7-5, 5-7, what are we going to say? Well, this is his first year. He's just getting used. We're going to have an excuse built in. There's a built-in excuse for Kalen DeBoer. He knows that. I know that. You should know that. Hopefully we see it's a mulligan year, actually. It's a mulligan year. So we got to hit a break, come back. I'd love to hear what you think. 205-342-9904. We'll continue talking more about this with this Tennessee NCAA violations. They're calling them major. NIL. Tennessee got a lot of money. They got the bankhead. They're doing a bankhead bounce on the Tennessee with 20s and hondos. But somebody might be in a little bit of trouble. We'll talk more about that, the impact of NIL and collectives. If you got questions, leave them on the YouTube Extra because I work with it. I know rules. I know what's happening with that. So I'd love to talk more about that because we're going to see more of this. And I think the NCAA is going to continue to be more nosy. We'll come back. More of your phone calls. Christian Miller, Noah Rogers, Corey Miller, Pastor Payne, Steve Lang hanging out here with me. We'll come back in a moment.
All right, let's see what we got. If you're just joining us, appreciate it. Make sure you guys like the stream. That always helps us out. Subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's dive into this. Christian, with the personnel in place and the recruits that have signed for this year, what do you think the defense, the 4-5 defense, looks like? Yeah, from what I've seen, and again, I've just gone and watched South Alabama. I've watched probably 4 games so far. Look, so 4-2-5. All right, let's start with personnel, right? So we, as in Alabama, have operated out of a nickel or a 4-2-5 defense probably 90% of the time over the past 3 years at least. Probably, honestly, 4 or 5 years. I mean, we slowly started playing more and more. When I got here in 2014, our base was a 3-4 defense, right? 3 down linemen, 4 backers, 2. You got a Mike and a Will, then you got the Sam and the Jack, 2 outside guys. That was our base. You play that against, silver, regular personnel. That's 12 personnel, 1 running back, 2 tight ends, right? 13, 21, any of those, silver, those regular personnel groupings like that, multiple tight ends, fullback. We play base. Well, as college football started to get away from that, we hardly played base, right? I mean, I was a starting Sam. What happens is when you go to nickel, the Sam comes out, the star comes in. Then I would go to Jack. Because Jack stays in, you got a Jack in regular and you got a Jack in nickel. That being said, we've been playing a 4-2-5 defense majority of the time, right? Like you hardly ever even seen us play our 3-4 base in years. So that's not the biggest difference. The difference with this defense is the philosophies with it, right? It's more of a, how do you explain this? Like his philosophies, at least from what I've seen, they don't run a too high shell, meaning like too high safeties where a lot of quarters coverage. They don't do that, meaning Coach Wallman, right? They do a lot of single high, like cover 3, cover 6 looks where you have that extra safety instead of him being in a high look, he's down in the box. So we can talk about what that means, but that's the biggest difference.
Miller Badge, 12:30 a.m. WTBC. I want to tell you about my good friend RSH Decor. I told you yesterday the weather is changing. The sun is out. If you got nice patios, nice outdoor places, you want outdoor furniture, go see RSH Decor. Check them out. They got all types of outdoor furniture for you. And I like the pillows and all that kind of stuff. Why? Because you can decorate them how you want. Like for me, they will have the block C on them forever to thee. Whether you're an Alabama fan, you want the elephant, you want all of that, you want your stuff did up right, they do it for you. Go check out the website, rshdecor.com. Scott Goodman, him and Susan, the owners that take good care of you, great people up in upstate and eastern South Carolina, huge Gamecock fans, but it don't matter. We sell outdoor furniture to everyone. If you own a hotel, any of those things, we cater to you as well as www.rshdecor.com.
Hey, I want to hit this comment real quick from Tia. I thought it was interesting. It was just kind of circling back to Caleb Downs and his comments. So basically,
I didn't see the comment. I was going by what you said, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I can try to read it real quick. I had it pulled up, then I lost it. But this is what Well, actually, I have it. Okay, I had it, lost it. Let me pull it back up. So basically, again, he was doing media. I think it was his first media appearance with Ohio State. And just to kind of sum it up, he said there was definitely some back and forth. There was a lot to think about and process between me and my family. At the end of the day, I made the decision to come here as an Ohio State. He mentioned, multiple reasons. His father, Gary, who you said you played with.
My teammate, Gary Downs,
in the NFL.
NC State.
He said his dad actually grew up with Coach Walton, one of the coaches on staff for Ohio State. That played a role, which is very fair. Just like when I was getting recruited here, Chris Rump was recruiting me. He was your teammate at South Carolina briefly, if I'm not mistaken. So that's I felt very comfortable with Coach Rump due to y'all's past and y'all's experience together and y'all's relationship. But he also said a lot of other stuff. But the point that I think the Alabama fans brought up, he mentioned Coach Saban. He said, he, as in Coach Saban, was committed every single day to being his best self. Not many people can say that and be truthful with that. He was the same person every single day. It taught me a lot about commitment, being disciplined, and consistency, everything that goes with that and being great. That's what he embodies. So definitely was very complimentary of Coach Saban and his process and how, he, has that standard of excellence each and every day. I get exactly what he was saying. But again, people kind of were offended and were kind of caught off guard because when you mentioned commitment, they're just like, well, dang, man, you weren't really committed to your guys.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with what he just said.
No, I think it's a great compliment to Coach Saban. It just kind of is like, it might be a little too soon to mention that. But again, he was entitled to that. That's his choice. I'll be honest. I love to ask the guys on team. I don't think they're probably too mad. I think they'd probably be a little upset. Like, dang, man, like, you're our brother. You were a leader. He definitely was a leader on the team. And I think that's why they might be a little offended because it's like.
Do you really think guys, like if you were in the locker room, he was your teammate?
That's what I was trying to do earlier.
In the shoes.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, are you mad at him?
Am I mad at him? I wouldn't be mad like, man, I don't mess with this dude, but I would be disappointed because again, he was a young leader on that team. And I know a lot of people really relied heavily on him. I know personally, his influence in that locker room. So I can only imagine the guys kind of like, dang, man, like he was one of our guys. However, with that being said, he's still their brother at the end of the day. I don't think they're holding him to the same fire that the fans not even think. I know that they're not holding that same fire. They probably were disappointed though. That being said, Tia made a point, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. She said, so was it the money or relationship why he left? My answer to that, the first part is definitely the relationship with Coach Saban is the main. If Coach Saban stayed, I don't think he would enter the portal. Now, I do know that he did have people offering things before even Coach Saban left. I know that. However, I still think he would have stayed set here with Coach Saban, and they would have found ways to properly compensate him. To be fair, when you have a season the way he had as a freshman and you're, looking more and more like a generational type player, you're going to want to be compensated in this day and age. That's just a fact. And I know he kind of was sensing that. So I think he might have already kind of had people in his ear, but I think the nail in the coffin was when Coach Saban left. All right. The second part she said was, if it's the relationship, does he transfer if Ryan Day gets a job elsewhere next year? I'm curious to what you think about that.
Let me just say this, first of all, Tia. It's both. It's money and it's relationship.
I agree.
He talked about the relationship with his father. They've had something, those conversations, they've been talked already with dad and his friend that's on the staff, right? And it's money. I joked earlier with Christian about, as his dad, I would have been telling him that he better run as fast as he could to that money because there was no promise that he was going to make it to the NFL. Although that's where we wanted him to go. We thought he had the ability to get there. But listen, what we do know, that check is there right now. So you better take that check now. Okay, so money definitely was a problem. Relationships does matter. I think Caleb Downs loved his teammates. I think what he was saying, basically, hey, Nick Saban did teach him about commitment. But commitment not about to your teammates, commitment like from that standpoint.
Commitment to excellence.
To being excellent about the standard. Be committed to the standard is what he was saying. I'm committed to working out. We've talked about how hard that Caleb Downs watches film. He does more than the next guy.
That's all a fact too. Like staying after practice, he was one of the first ones in the building.
That's the commitment he's talking about.
Yeah.
Right? That he knew in order to be the best. I spoke to our SH yesterday when I went to speak to that company. Here's what I told them. I said, what is athletes or business, right? You write your goals down. You should have a goal, right? You write those goals down, like you can look at them every day. When you stick them on the mirror. When you brush your teeth, you see them in the morning before you go to work. You see them at night before you lie your head down. And you ask, what happened? Right? You ask yourself that hard question. Right? You commit to those things. What do I need to do to accomplish those things? And I told them, you have to do more than the next man. You have to be a forward thinker. What do I mean by forward thinking? You have to outthink that guy. When he's sleeping and slobbering in bed, I think about how I'm gonna take advantage of you, right? And that's Caleb Downs. I'm no freaking way mad at him. Hey, I'm applauding Caleb Downs. As a freshman to do what he did, that's commitment. And thank God for Nick Saban. Thank God for a man that taught him something about how to win. Not just to be a freshman All-American, but he taught him how to win in life. Because those principles, those foundational principles do not change. They work in a business, they work in your life, they work in relationships. They don't change, right? So you can be mad at him. That's up to you. And one thing I know about that, it's kind of like forgiveness. If you hold on to unforgiveness, I should say, they don't affect that person because Caleb, he's going to cash that check. He might be at the Gucci store. You sit over here frowning mad. Oh, he ain't no good teammate. Okay, he got stacks in the bank. So be mad all you want to. All right, we got to hit the top of that break. When we come back, I just reached out to my guy at the Senior Bowl down in Mobile, boots on the ground. Tory Gurley played at South Carolina, big receiver, played at Green Bay several years in the National Football League. He now works for Jim Nagy, and he is a scout. And he'll catch us up to what's happening down in Mobile with some of the guys that we care about that wore the scripted A on their uniform. So we'll talk to Tory Gurley right after this top of the hour break. This is the Miller's Edge. We're on the Tide 1.9, 1230 AM WTBC. Back in a moment.
Can't blame Downs. Dang, that's already 1 hour down. 1 hour to go. Flies by. Can't blame Downs, but at the end of the day, he left the standard, and his brother's right. When you say he left the standard, I guess you mean like the Alabama standard. No, I mean, yeah, no, technically, yeah, he left, but again, he's not the only one, right? I mean, there was 29 other guys. I'm just saying, I think if we're going to hold him to the fire, you got to hold everybody to the fire the same way. I think it's just we just know the impact of him leaving, and people are a little upset. But at the end of the day, I mean, he chose to do what he thought was best for him in his future. I mean, that's really all it boils down to, man. I mean, it's unfortunate, but again, it's part of college football right now. I think we're opening up an era where kids jump from school to school. Third one there. Yeah, but the thing is, though, I mean, they've already been doing that. So I don't know if we're necessarily opening it up. I think it's already been there, Tia. But also, I thought they put it in there where you can only transfer one time, and the next time you can't, unless you have like some, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, some special approval, unless you're a grad student. But trust me, they're not just going to let this go on for too long. They'll eventually do something. Christian, I can't imagine getting scolded by your dad when you were young. I mean, I ain't really get in trouble or nothing like that. I really, my parents got divorced when I was young. I was raised by my mom, so I ain't never was like people used to ask if he used to tackle me when I was a kid. I was like, no. All right, here we go.
We're hanging out with you. Number one, a lot of good, crazy discussion going on. We talk about Tennessee and the NIL deal right now under some implications, alleged, that is, and we'll see how that turns out for the Volunteers. But it talks about the NIL structure and that good deal. We'll continue to talk about that, what Bama needs to do to make sure they're on point. But it looks like with the folks there, they are going to be good to go. I know they do a really, really good job with their NIL, but they need to be a little bit more aggressive. There's no doubt about that, because if not, you're going to get behind. That's just the way of the world. We talked about Caleb Downs and why he made the decision. He talked about why he made the decision. Praised Coach Nick Saban and learning those things about commitment. And of course, Alabama fans beat him up on the World Wide Web. That's normal because I'm mad because the kid left, but we're not mad. We applaud him for doing what he needs to do at such a young age. A great football player, got a great future in front of him. 205-342-9904. We should have Tori Gurley calling in just a moment from Mobile, Alabama. Noah, real quickly, I meant to message you that Tori Gurley going to be calling in. Did you hear me there?
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay, so just look for Tori. Let me know when he calls in.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out to Performance Off-Road Direct here in Northport. They got me right. I finally got my truck back. As I told you, I was getting it lifted, and man, they did a phenomenal job. So if you guys are like me, you need your truck lifted, you're into doing things off-road or outdoors, make sure you go check them out right now. Again, there you go. I got a lift kit put on my new truck, and you guys know me. If you know me, you know me. I always have a nice lifted truck. Been like that since high school. So make sure you go check them out. It's 4751 Lake Sherwood Lane in Northport, Alabama. Give him a call. He'll give you a quote and see how he can help you. But again, wheels, tires, they've got all that, a wide selection. They can order it for you, get you set up, squared away.
People have lifted up trucks.
I'm sure a lot of people do. I mean, we're down south. I feel like everybody around here has lifted trucks. Like I said, I've had lifted trucks since I was 15 years old. So I mean, it's something of need for me, and I'm glad to work with my man Michael that runs the shop, man, because he does such a good job. Gets it back to me quick. Great service. He's even done some guys with football. I've sent them over there as well. So make sure you check them out. Again, that's Off-Road Performance Direct in Northport. Again, ask for Michael. He'll take great care of you. Yeah. So we can move on from the Downs things. I mean, I think, and I like what Hacker said. He's not going to dog Downs for leaving. When he was that age, he didn't know what he wanted to do, and I think you got to remember that too. I mean, these guys are 18 and 20. I guess it goes up probably 24 as long as guys are in college, but they're trying to figure things out for themselves. And let's just face it, guys. I mean, I asked you guys a question too, the listeners. I asked you guys. I mean, say that you're a doctor, a lawyer, electrician, right? And another company comes offering you 4 times the salary, right? I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. I think almost every single person would answer, yeah, I'm going to take that other job for the increase in pay. So try to think about that kind of stuff sometimes when you think about these kids, even if it's not the decision that makes us happy as fans or former players, right? You just got to remember they've got a life to live, and I just hope for the best for anybody and everybody. But with that being said, I don't see this lasting much longer. I mean, I'm with you. You said that with the Tennessee thing, and we were hearing more and more about them finally starting to look into things. I think this is only the beginning. And I wouldn't be shocked if this kind of is like that domino effect and they really start diving in to everybody nowadays with all this NIL stuff. And I'm not going to be shocked at what they find. Maybe the NCAA, there's no way they're going to be shocked. I mean, I'm sure they know what's been going on, but hopefully this is kind of the beginning to finally getting some of that legislation that's so desperately needed. Because if what they want is true parity in the sport, and but also being able to properly compensate guys, maybe this is a step in the right direction. We'll have to see, but Tennessee can't catch a break, man, because they got hit with Jeremy Pruitt, and in that whole thing, the money in the McDonald's bags, they were filling up double cheeseburger boxes with money.
Mickey D's bags?
Oh, yeah. It was the McDonald's bag. And then now this. So it's unfortunate, but it's part of it, man.
Listen, man, this stuff, let's just be honest. I'm not you, Christian, don't you? but for me, I don't even know what I'm saying, not you, but for me, okay, I'm 55. I'm 30-something years removed from college football. I came to the University of South Carolina, right? I worked the summer before I got here just so I can have a car, right? And I worked that, and I told you that Page London, everybody, pay attention, lean in real close, is the watermelon capital of the world. And I worked in watermelon fields about every summer. Johnson's Produce, matter of fact, was the name of the place. And I knew I needed a car. I didn't want to be walking, and I did not want to ride. We had something, the buses at USC, the University of South Carolina, were called the shuttlecock. And I didn't want to be jumping on the shuttlecock every day getting to and from class. I knew I wanted to go get me some food. I needed a ride. So I had to go in 100-degree weather and load 18-wheelers for 8-9 hours a day. That's what I did. This is a true story, right? And I was so proud of myself and so happy because my parents couldn't afford to get me a car, right? I got me a 1977 Monte Carlo. Then I made a couple hundred extra bucks, and I don't know if you remember these things, but I put me some spoke rims on that car, chrome, and had the spokes, and you put the little star, you screw them in, they look like a little star, right? They spin when you drove, boy, and it was orange. Imagine that. I had an orange car going to the University of South Carolina. The car was Clemson colors. Didn't matter to me. And so my buddy, the guy that worked for Johnson Produce, was an artist, and he said, hey, man, Corey, he talked something like this. You know what would be really cool, dude? If you let me paint your name on the door. And I was like, yeah, man, that's tight. So my name, Corey Miller, was on both sides on the driver and passenger side door. But when I got to school, I was happy I had a car, but guess what? There was no electric cars back then. I needed some gas. Well, there were these 4 dudes that, as my mama used to call them, insurance men when they came to the neighborhood. These insurance men were white men that were coaches. But when you came to an all-black neighborhood in Pageland, the only white people that normally showed up were police and the insurance man. So when I got to school in Pageland, the insurance man loved how number 33, my number, was playing, and they wanted to shake my hand. We didn't have Mickey D bags, but they had some big hands. So what I'm telling you is this stuff's been going on for a long time. We call them the $100 handshakes. I got several $100 handshakes in my 4 years at South Carolina. And that Monte Carlo lasted about a year because I kept upgrading it. I don't know how, but somehow God just gave me some favor and supernaturally upgraded my car. So what am I telling you? This stuff was going on. It's worse now. It is what it is. And it's not going anywhere. So they just need to find out a way with NIL to make it right for everybody, to make it equal for everybody, and move on, because this stuff is getting really ridiculous. I'm getting a message that my guest is on the line, so let's do right. Should I take a quick break, and then just start fresh? Let's do that.
Yeah, let's take a
quick break
time
and then
out. That way we got plenty of time.
Time out. And we'll bring our good friend Tori Gurley, former Gamecock, now works for Jim Nagy at the Senior Bowl. He's got boots on the ground. We can ask him about some of the Bama players that did it. So let's hit a quick earlier time out here. We can have him on longer and talk with him. He's got a lot of great information. He worked with kids as well on the side, helped them get recruited. We'll ask him about NIL and recruiting of players. He knows a lot about that too. So we'll talk with Tori Gurley, former Gamecock, former NFL wide receiver, coming up right here on the Mills Edge, right on the Tide, 100.9, the home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. We'll be back in a moment.
Hey, what if I told you?
Yeah, that's what my grandma Ethel, that's what she used to call him, the insurance man. He's from like a small town and right like on the border of South Carolina, North Carolina. Any program in Caleb's top transfer prospect is going to come up with the money to get him. There's so many. There's so money isn't the reason. I think it's probably a little bit of both, definitely. I mean, I think it was triggered by Coach Saban leaving, but I'm just telling y'all right now, like that's how it works when guys have stellar seasons like that and they play extremely well. They know schools are going to be contacting them, so that gives them leverage, and then they're going to go to their said school and say, "Hey, I think I need an increase." Right? I'm just telling you how it works.
And welcome back, 113 on the dial here in Tuscaloosa. I'm in Columbia, South Carolina. Just hanging out in the studio at Scala Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. We've been talking a lot about NIL, down, transfer portal, all that good stuff. Now it's here's a little bit. Even though football is on its last leg for the year, one more game of Super Bowl. We talked about that yesterday. We'll talk more later about that. But the Senior Bowl, the Reese Senior Bowl, everybody, every senior. Every big-time athlete wants to be a part of the Senior Bowl. That's what it's all about. To get there, you know that you are Josh Stockton. You're one of the best players supposedly in the country. So let's head down to Mobile, talk my good friend Troy Gurley, played at South Carolina wide receiver from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Played for the Packers, 17, Cleveland Brown, played also in the Canadian League. So he's done both. He's been around. Now he works for the Maggie and the Senior Bowl as a scout. Troy, man, appreciate your time. Hope you're well.
Yes, sir. What's going on, Corey?
Man, we're just hanging out, having a lot of fun talking sports, which we do every single day. And of course, I know a lot of Tide fans are very curious to see what's happening down in Mobile. Big week, all the scouts are there, and the coaches. You got everything happening down in Mobile. Is it Mardi Gras week too?
Yes, it's always Mardi Gras week. Mardi Gras week down there. They do a great job of, having festivities for fans and players. You can get out, and last year Nelly was the headliner, and I think this year they're going to go with the country music. It's a great time down there in Mobile.
You said Nelly. I mean, they were playing golf. That was 50 cents down October. That's a golf. So he might be stopping. Really come back. You got no country. He likes country music. Go say the make sure there in Mobile. What's the week been like? I know it's early part of the week. Give folks kind of a little bit of an idea of what it's like for the players and what's going on.
Yeah, so it's Josh just played in and first day and up. You know what it's like to be out there with all the scouts. They're looking around, want to see who can go out and play fast, be physical, but also protect your teammates because everybody has a lot at risk. It's good to see guys, kind of stand out. And one kid in particular that's looking pretty good from a passing standpoint is Spencer Rattler. He's out there doing what he's supposed to do, getting the ball in the right places. And I'm hoping that him and Xavier Leggett can eventually get it going. There was a couple of times in one-on-ones where Xavier just couldn't get any separation on the DBs on go routes. And, we'll see what happens moving forward. Like, I think right now they're in pass skill. But from a one-on-one standpoint, Spencer was spot on. But, we're waiting to see if Mr. Leggett can get it going.
Tori, what's going on, man? It's Christian, man. I appreciate you joining us. I'm an Alabama guy. I got to ask you, have you been able to lay eyes on, I think, Chris Braswell, Justin Boykin, and then Will Reichert? I think there are three guys that we have represent us. Have you been able to lay eyes on any of those three guys, and how have they looked if you have?
I haven't had a chance to take a look at those guys yet. I know they're out there on the field, but it's just one of those things. I've been looking at the receivers and just kind of just locked in from that standpoint, with the guys on the offensive side, those skilled players. But I'm quite sure when I get back out here, I'll be able to dive into and give you a better eval on how those guys are looking so far.
What about a quarterback? Is there a quarterback that's sticking out to you? Because I saw the roster. I mean, you guys are loaded with talent. I mean, every year you guys obviously have great talent, but it's like this quarterback class, there's a lot of talent right there. Is anybody sticking out more than the other?
Right now it's kind of even. Like I said, this is the first day where guys are out here getting spinning around, and Joe Milton looks the part. Like I said, Sam Hartman looks pretty good. Like I said, Spence looked good in the segment, right before I get on the call. So, but we'll see what happens when guys go out there outside 7-on-7, but when they line up and do team, one-on-ones or just team, and just saying who can move the ball up and down the field on a short week.
Sure, now you're scouting, what their particular position you're going to use and all that good stuff in college. But when you took this job with CEO and Jim Nagy, how did you kind of break those up? Because it's based on your experience and what you played, or is it just different position groups?
Yeah, so it helps because there are multiple ways you can get into scouting. For us, I'm talking about everybody on the call, we're all former players, so it's easy for you to stick to your position. With you guys being great D linemen and me being out there on the perimeter, staying away from the big guys, I know what coaches are looking for, especially in 2024 when it comes to these, tempo offenses that these NFL teams are trying to run. OG, back when you played, guys were on center, 21 personnel or, two backs or whatever, and tight end, and being able to run the football. But now, with these teams going in 11 personnel, one is spinning around with 3 receivers and a tight end, being able to evaluate a kid on how he looks in the pocket or how he looks under duress or how he commands the huddle really matters a lot, because the amount of money these young men are being paid for being first-round picks or being franchise players, this right here gives everybody a snapshot of what those guys could be in the future.
Tori, what would you say is the most important factor of being down in Mobile? When I was down there, I was injured, so I couldn't play in the game, but I still was able to go into all the meetings, still was able to meet with the scouts and all the NFL staffers and whatnot. And I knew how beneficial that was for me, just speaking with them, because at first I was like, man, it's unfortunate I can't physically be out there. But after being down there, and I'm very appreciative to Nagy for still extending that invite, that definitely paid off for me. So how would you rank it, or would you say that it's balanced, the off-field portion that the guys are doing, or the on-field? Which one would you say holds more weight, or would you say they're about even?
I think they're both even, but you definitely want to interview well, because now that's an opportunity to where we can figure out who you are with the helmet off.
Right.
What motivates you, who's been in your life, who's helping you with this process, because now not only is the team drafting you, but they're also drafting the family. And something we're starting to see in social media is that, certain families or different teams are, going out and saying things, and you want to make sure you can keep that stuff close to the vest, because it's hard to win at a high level. Something you've been able to do, win SEC championships and being part of national championship teams, you want to keep that stuff in house. So it's important for these guys to sit down and be able to just, share that they can be a pro and handle the rigors of being a pro athlete, because it's tough. You don't get any days off, and they pay you a lot of money, but you got to go out there and perform when it matters most, because if not, they're going to replace you with somebody else in the senior bowl the next year. So, it's very competitive, and that's why we love to do this. I feel like, what you do on the field helps, but definitely off the field, that's what can separate these guys when it comes to being drafted in certain slots.
Tori Gurley, I guess, here on the Miller's Edge, former South Carolina wide receiver, played for the Packers, Brown, and then, of course, over Canada as well. Now, Jim Nagy also was a regular on TV for a while. The Paul Bond and others on the SEC network, so he's a man of many talents. So when we look at this stuff, how much really does the Senior Bowl help? We see certain guys and know I'm not going to risk it. I'm good. The big guys don't lie. Look at my film; they don't come to anything. So I'm asking you, how much can a guy like a Chris Blaswell, very, very good football player, but based on how they play more with his hands in the dirt. This is a chance to show that he could be a 3-4 type outside linebacker. How much is it this type of guy like you?
OG, it matters. It truly matters, because you're getting to go out and work out in front of all 32 NFL teams, front offices, owners, general managers, head coaches. So when they can watch you do multiple things, you're interviewing for every team. So you can get drafted to the Giants, but to say later on in free agency, if the Giants don't want to re you up, you might have to go to Minnesota or you might have to go to Dallas. But that same coach that you worked out with at the Senior Bowl that was there is like, man, you know what? I love Corey, and we want to make him the highest paid. If instead of paying Michael Parsons, I want to pay Corey. We're gonna make him the highest paid defensive end or linebacker in the league, and a lot of that stuff starts right here. Just the foundation of being around different teams and having that opportunity, because at the NFL Combine is speed dating. You're there for 3 days, and those conversations go quick. Everything is 2 to 3 minutes, in and out, in and out, in and out. Senior Bowl is more of a relaxed environment over a week span that you can build that relationship, and you just never know where it's going to take you at sport.
Corey, and I hate to do this on our station. We got a lot of Alabama fans listening, but you were a part of the Carolina team that beat Alabama back in 2010, right?
Yes, sir.
Man, just what went into that game? I'm genuinely curious. I know y'all were a good, no. Look, I'm asking because I know y'all were a good squad. Y'all had athletes. You, Lattimore, Alshon Jeffrey. I know you had good players, really good players. But going to your mindset going into that game, like how confident were y'all going into that game that y'all could beat a team like Alabama, kind of coming up with that big upset? Yeah, because Alabama was number one, and y'all came with a big upset. Just kind of what was y'all's mindset as a team going into that week? Y'all extremely confident, or were y'all surprised by the upset?
Well, most importantly, we got embarrassed the year before. We're the reason why Mark Ingram won the Heisman Trophy. That game alone, and that's all they kept doing the entire time during his Heisman ceremony, was him breaking tackles and just. It looked like a Pee Wee football game out there. He was a man amongst boys. So defensively, those guys were already fired up. They're like, look, we're not going to allow this guy to come in our stadium and beat us when it comes to running the football. And then offensively, we finally were able to put it together. We had guys like Steven Garcia, Alshon Jeffrey, Marcus Lattimore, the whole offensive line from Darrell King to we probably had as many pros on our team as Alabama that year. Like if you go back and you go look at that roster, we probably neck to neck when it came to guys that actually played in the league off that one team. So that was something we were prepared for it, and most importantly, it's home field advantage. SEC, even at a place like Vanderbilt, if you go in there and you sleepy, they can get after you for a half or two. But us having William Bryce behind us and getting those stops scoring in the opening drive, we just knew from there it gave us a shot to do what we had to do. And just hats off to the O-line and Marcus and Steven. They played unbelievable. And, Alshon did what he did best. And, we were able to come out of there with a win. And it was the first time that Alabama had to play from behind. They were in a real deficit that, the things they were used to doing were running the ball in and off the Trent or Mark. We took it away from them and enforced Greg McElroy to be a passer, and we had Stephon Gilmore and Julio Jones. So it was, all pro versus all pro. So now I think on the other side of the field was like Marquise Mays. We were able to contain him, and everything else literally just fell into place. Where we had the crowd on us, and we got some breaks, and we got pressure. And once we took Bama out of their game plan, we were able to get out of there with the win.
That was a wonderful game. I was actually covering that game. It was going to be a close game from the top of the week. How excited the fans knocking down the number one team. Between those two teams, I bet there was perfect NFL. You just start talking about these leagues. Wow. And the fact when you get one of our two best guys on my live stream said, Steven Garcia was on fire, and he was. I guess he did the night before. Man. I mean,
maybe he did. Maybe he drank beer.
Legend has it in his Gatorade. Probably was Gatorade.
See,
he played better when you were drunk. I must ask you. I guess all of NFL players, but NIL. This we let you go. We've been talking about Caleb State from Alabama, of course, for the Ohio State. We were saying who's the number one back or whatever recruiting service. That's for the Ohio State. Alabama got the coach, Nick Saban and Caleb before. It's kind of all over the place with that whole deal. You work out athletes. You work with young guys like I do. More stuff with them. You got several guys that have signed college football at the highest level. What's your thoughts with NIL and all the things that we're seeing right now with players? Just overall, how do you see this thing changing, working out, still the same. What's your thought?
Yeah, I feel like they need to put some guardrails around it. I don't think they will. And the reason for that, with us being former players, we know there are things that happen in football medically that can, affect guys the rest of their lives. We've all been a part of it where we've been injured. And I think that's the number one reason why the NCAA doesn't want to step in and call these kids employees, because now it just opens up a different box of problems. With that being said, I just wish they would just kind of set it up like the NFL, where it's like, okay, here's the cap. You can spend X amount of dollars on these players, and just go from there and make kids earn it. Because I never understood how you can go out and recruit a high school kid that's a 5-star. How is he worth more than a guy that's currently on the roster that might be all SEC or all American with the draft rate? So if you're going to give a high school kid $1 million, what does that make that all American? Pro prospect. And
$3 million.
I'm not. Yeah. So I'm not counting anyone's pockets. I know there are some wealthy people out here, but that's got to be tough if you're a donor. It's like, well, who do I pay? Because every year, if you're going back to the table and these kids want to renegotiate after one season, that's unheard of. You can't do that in any business at all. I can't name one sport where at the end of every season you go to the table and say, hey, if you guys don't pay me, I'm going to leave. That kind of sets young men and young women up for, false sense of reality. Like, that's not life. You're going to have these same, you're going to have the same attitude and demeanor about, oh, I'm above this and I can, I can break this rule or break this contract and go to another place, and it's not going to work out that way. So I'm hoping that, they bring in like-minded people, maybe guys like yourself who have the experience, maybe some other business people, and be able to get a union together so everybody could be happy. Because we want kids to get paid, but this out here chasing the bad thing. Okay, you bounce around from school to school, but what's your legacy? And something you guys are proud about. And you wear that Alabama with pride. You can go back and share with
when you
your
tell them again, so these people questioning my allegiance to Alabama because I called Corey, when you tell them how much when I covered the game when you were playing, even before then, I've always kept it real. Chris Rubin didn't believe me with South Carolina, well, Alabama. They said, "Oh, you're not an Alabama fan." When you tell them folks, I've always been.
Since day one. Since day one. And literally from, Christian, you get to go back and share with your family, you being a player at Alabama, and Corey, your legacy being a Hall of Famer at the University of South Carolina. Like, you can wear that with pride. But how do you tell your kids, yeah, daddy played at 5 different colleges? It's just, I can understand it with the NFL, but, you got 5 different jerseys on the wall with the last name. Aesthetically, that doesn't even look right on the wall. Like, yeah, you played at Bama, then you played at Auburn, and now you got a South Carolina jersey. It's like, you can call it being old and set in ways, but they have to do right. They got to be better, because your legacy is going to live on, and you just don't want to be a kid who, took advantage of being a college player. Man, you want to be somebody that can go back and represent that school with all the pride and respect in the world.
Good stuff, my boy, right there. That's Troy Gurley. Well, we appreciate you, man. Have a great week down there. Let's do some gumbo, or this is Mardi Gras, you do gumbo, and what else you eat down the Mobile?
Oh man, it's great stuff everywhere here, man. I thank you guys for allowing me to be on your platform, and I love seeing, Dad and someone work together and do something special, man. This is beautiful, man. Keep up the great work.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. All right, there you go. Troy Gurley, former Gamecock wide receiver for that 2010 team that beat Alabama. Played years in the NFL. Worked in Canada now. He's covering the City Bowl. So, time down there. Quick time out. We got some calls. 452-4994. Take some of those. The app missed. Time 1.9. We'll do all that. Good business right here. Half an hour left of the show. Back in a moment.
DisneyCoins.com is.
Let's see, Willie. Oh, Willie got family in Edgefield. That's not too far, I don't think. That's what's up, man. Yeah, Steven Garcia was playing a great game for sure. So I know that might have been a little of a touchy subject. I just was curious. But he's right, though. I mean, but you got to think about it. South Carolina has some really good players on that team, man. In between Marcus Lattimore, Alshon Jeffrey, he's a good player. Ace Sanders, Stephon Gilmore on the other side of the football. Pretty sure Clowney was definitely on that team. If I'm not mistaken, he might have been young, though. Actually, he might not have been on that. Actually, no, he might not have been on that team. He might have got there in 2011. Yeah, I think he got there in 2011. He wasn't on that team. And they had like Eric Norwood. I don't know if you guys remember him. Definitely probably missing some guys. Damn, was Eric Norwood not on the team either? He was 2009. I'm just all over the place. I was younger. Yeah, Clowney was the year after. South Carolina Stadium was called Williams-Brice Stadium. They got a good atmosphere, man. I'm not gonna lie. The towel was a quick sandstorm. They get rowdy. And welcome back into this. What's today? Tuesday. I'm forgetting the day of the week. No, it's Tuesday
It all runs
edition
together.
of the Miller's Edge. It really does all run together. But the Miller's Edge right
We
here on
call it
Tide
what you
100.9.
want.
Yeah, I
No.
know, right? It doesn't really matter at this point. 12:30 a.m. WTBC. We are presented by the Good Feet Store, America's Arch Sport expert. So if you're in any type of pain, foot pain, knee pain, back pain, just don't feel right, head on over to the Good Feet Store. Let them check you out. You won't be disappointed. They've got premium arch supports that are designed to eliminate and alleviate that pain. They get you in that proper balance. That way, all your joints, ligaments, everything is in sync. You start feeling much better. So go check them out again. It's in Midtown Village in Tuscaloosa. But if you're not here, you can always go to another store. They've got them all over the place. You can find out where the closest store is at goodfeet.com. And you can also schedule an appointment and get there. Again, that's Good Feet, improving the quality of people's lives 2 feet at a time. Noah, I think we had an app message or two if you want to get to that. And then we can hit the phone lines. But yeah, let's start with app messages.
Yeah, we got a message from KJ in Atlanta. He's talking a bit about Kool-Aid McKinstry. He said Jordan Reed, who's an ESPN analyst, has Kool-Aid McKinstry as his first corner off his board at 13th to the Raiders. Kool-Aid and Terrion seem to be brothers. Can't bring one down to lift the other up.
I wouldn't say it's bringing one down.
Man, how KJ always find one guy support? Come on, KJ. Who? What's the guy name that got him at one?
I don't know, some guy from ESPN.
Jordan Reed.
Yeah, but everybody's going to vary. I don't think it's just that. I mean, Mel Kiper, at least, and I know Mel Kiper is wrong a lot of the time, but if you talk about, I hate even saying the standard for these draft mocks, but he kind of is, though, even though he's not always right, but he kind of is like the face of mock drafts. Look, all I'm saying is I wouldn't say you're pulling one down to bring them up. At least I didn't take what you said by that. I mean, because I disagree. I think Kool-Aid still is a phenomenal football player that still is going to get drafted high. I do think that he probably could get in better shape. I do think that he probably could be in a little bit better shape, but I also know that he has a really good work ethic, right? I know that he's a good student of the game. Coach Saban was very high on Kool-Aid, right? He worked with him, firsthand. So I believe in Kool-Aid. I think he's going to make a very good NFL cornerback. But I'm with you, though, in terms of Terrion, though. I like Terrion for his upside. Yeah, Terrion, and not even just that, because he definitely had the production this past year. But when I look at Terrion's going to test better than Kool-Aid. That's just a fact, right? Talking about a guy, I'm pretty sure he came in as a safety, so he's probably got some versatility there. We've seen Terrion line up as a slot corner at times, right? Terrion has a little more versatility, in my opinion. And then you combine that with the athleticism and now the production that he displayed this past season. I think he's caught a lot of attention from NFL scouts and staffers. So I would not be shocked if we see him end up going high. I mean, you got to look at it almost like the running backs that we've had in the past, right? You take a guy like Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs wasn't necessarily the most talked about running back that we had, but people that were close to the program or us that played there knew this dude might not be RB1 for us just because we have so much talent and we're playing other guys. But I'll tell you right now, I knew Josh Jacobs was going to probably have one of the best careers, if not the best NFL career out of the running backs I have been playing with. I'm obviously got Derrick Henry. I got him at 1, but I'm just saying, like, for a guy that wasn't necessarily running back 1 here, we all knew just looking at him, Mike, because I practice against the dude every single day, right? Dude runs the ball, angry as hell, hard as hell. He can make you miss. He's shifty. He can catch the football out of the backfield. I mean, like, there's nothing that Josh can't do. Probably our best pass blocker, right, which is key in the NFL. So all I'm saying is I could see that being this type of situation where Kool-Aid was a more talked about guy in college, but Terrion is a guy that was kind of like a sleeper. Then he finally started having more production, and then he really might hit that next step even further when he gets to the league. But I think both of them are going to have great NFL careers.
Well,
two different types of players, by the way.
Yeah, but then you look at, Kool-Aid being that name, he was that. But we always talk about work ethic. We always talk about what you do when you get there, right? And sometimes, you can think of yourself a little bit more highly than you are. Maybe you think you're better than you are. And I kind of felt those moments with Kool-Aid this year. Everybody's talking about you. Everybody's saying how great you are and all that good stuff. And you're not playing your best. And you know me, I get mad when the guy won't hit nobody. I mean, he was a king of whiff when it comes to tackling. I mean, it's like, dude, you're not prime time. You're not Deion Sanders, right? You go to, man, Coach Saban cornerbacks, look at Marlon Humphrey, man. They come up there and they come with bad intentions, right? They come with bad intentions. And I saw that numerous times. I like him as a player. I think Kool-Aid has a tremendous upside, but he has to learn how to work. He has to learn how to be even play smarter. He's too casual. He didn't seem like he was invested all the time. Because I watch body language. I watch when they come off the field, and I want people to seem like they're invested in what they're doing. And I felt like he had a step down. And I think there's no surprise that Mel Kiper and others have Terrion Arnold, who did seem invested, who worked his tail off, right? That played better. That's just what it is. And I think Kool-Aid McKinstry lost money this past year at Alabama. And I'm not saying that he is not going to be a top-notch player. I think Kool-Aid McKinstry is going to be fine when he get there. Because what normally happens, a kid like that, once he declares and goes in, they send him the agent sends him to wherever place he wants to work out, whether California, Miami, wherever, Dallas, and they get their body in phenomenal shape, and they normally test a lot better than what we've seen. So I think he'll finally get it because it's real now, right? Because, I was at the barbershop this morning, like my barber said, like, listen, people will be like, so-and-so's trash, and look in the NFL like, dude, you can't call nobody on that TV trash. They play at the highest level, bro. That's just the best in the world. Now, they may not be as good as O-line number one. They're not trash. So I'm like, these people are crazy. They don't understand the difficulty in trying to play NFL football. It's not easy.
Right.
That's the reason why there's a 1% chance that people make it. So,
right.
But I do think he possesses the skill sets to be a good football player. Hopefully he gets his mind, because really what separates one from two or two to three, or the guy that makes the roster to the one that doesn't make the roster. And a lot of times it's in the mind, it's between the ears. What happens between the ears with those athletes? Because I promise you, I've seen dudes, man, their lockers cleaned out, and you go, wow, what in the world happened? That dude could play, and then they keep this guy. Yep. Right? It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, so.
Well, then you think about special teams, right? You only got 53 guys on a roster. Now, granted, if you're a corner drafted in the first round, you're probably not playing much special teams. However, second round, and then you got a starter already, you probably see some. But anything past that, those guys are playing special teams. A guy like Terrion, he was phenomenal on special teams in terms of being a gunner. And then Kool-Aid, the same thing. As a returner, he has that returning ability. So that's two different types of players. And you talk about mindset. From what I've told, Kool-Aid definitely is a student of the game, but it makes you wonder that did maybe, I'm not saying he had his sights on the NFL, so to speak, but when you compare the two, Terrion had more of a maybe he had to have more of a prove it mindset because again, he is taught about versus a guy like Kool-Aid who was, well, let's just face it. I mean, Kool-Aid had to be receiving a ton of NIL money. I mean, the jewelry he displayed on game days was worth 6 figures alone. So, I mean, again, I'm not accusing him of anything. I don't know.
Well,
I just know that I'm not going to sit there and be that guy to say, oh, well, he won. I agree there was times he didn't have that same level of intensity, in my opinion, just from what I was seeing. But who knows? I mean, maybe he had an injury or maybe he had some. I don't know. All I know is just I do think that there was times where there was a little bit of a lack of intensity, whether it was, opportunities to make plays on like tackling or
for all the people in the top row of the church and the back row leaning close as the pastor tell you this, the big eye in the sky, it don't lie. Right? We could try to sugarcoat and be nice, but turn the tape on.
Yeah.
If you turn the tape on, it ain't gonna lie to you.
It is
what you see.
Is there anybody else that you look at that you got high? I mean, I'll name a few because I know I cover him a little bit more. So Dallas Turner, let me ask you about him. How do you see his game transitioning or translating to the next level? We talked about Will Anderson and how well he was going to transition because he was played out of position. Do you see that same thing being the case for Dallas Turner?
I think both Chris Braswell, my breakdown analysis with them will be the same, Christian, because just like you, right? And I trained you because I kept telling you, you got to learn how to play up, right? And your drops and, curl flat and flipping those hips and things like that because you didn't do a lot of that. See, y'all are the same.
Yes, I did.
No, y'all did not do a ton of that. You played.
Listen. I did not say in the game. I did that every day at practice.
No, I'm talking about in the game.
That's different. And that's in a game. I did it way more though than people realize. I mean, I played off the ball all the time. I get what you're saying.
I was the same player.
Right? I get what you're saying.
My last 2 years, I played my hand in the dirt. I knew I was a 3-4 outside linebacker. Right. And when Bill Parcells called me, he said, "I'm gonna move you," because he already knew. Right, my first 2 years at South Carolina, I was an outside linebacker. My last 2 years, which I made a Hall of Fame, as a defensive end. Right, I didn't want to play defensive end, but that's what the team needed me to do. I did. There wasn't an NIL back then. Had there been, as a month, I'd have been gone. But the thing is, like, I did what I needed to do. But when I got to the combine, I was with the linebacker coach. I was inside linebacker, I was outside linebackers, and like I told you, I played all positions. Right. So Chris Braswell and Dallas Turner, same thing. And, I talked to Chris and we had him on the YouTube extra, working on those hips because that's what they're going to want to see. Because the team that drafted you that's running the 3-4, they want to see can you stand up and play because to me, both those guys were true Sam outside linebacker. That's what I played 9 years. Right? I played on the running sprint, right inside. And I took them tight end because I get obviously we were talking about jamming in his face, and then we played a lot of over, right? Where I had to play off the ball now. Over me was try to get the front over, and I back up and I inside linebacker. So I had to learn how to play that way. So I see both those guys having to work on that with practice transitioning. You know they can rush the pass, and you know they can play the run because they say they keep talking to you, and all. That's a big thing. Raise some hands, get this on the block, those types of things. So we know you can do that, but the big question is when you're playing football today, you better be able to play in space. It's just football. You better be able to bust the flat. You better be able to open those hips to get to the hook. You better be able to carry that tight end down the seam when you're playing cover two. All these different things that those two guys need to have to show what they can do. But after watching them and looking at their athleticism, there's no doubt they'll be able to do that. All right, quick break. I think this might be the final break of the show. Come back, we'll take the last couple of calls and we'll pass it on to Ron Fowler in the game that's coming up following the Miller's Edge. We'll be back in just a moment. Keep it locked right down the 5. 100.9 to the 8. WTBC. Back in the
Seems to me like a lot of these Alabama DBs play even better than the NFL than they did at Alabama, or at least they don't get burned as often. I mean, I can see where you're coming from. I mean, take a guy like Marlon who came in my class. Marlon was great here, but we used to kind of mess with him in terms of just like playing the ball. It just seemed like he'd have a hard time getting his eyes back around and playing the ball. Fast forward to NFL, doing a much better job at that, and obviously having a great career and as an all-pro player. Speaking of him, man, do y'all really have beef with Marlon over his tweet? I'm just curious. I feel like the fan base is like at war with Marlon because of his tweet. I don't know if you guys don't know what I'm talking about. It was when Coach Saban first retired. I think one of his first tweets was like, if I was on the team, I would have I'd hit that transfer portal so fast. And if you guys haven't been following Marlon, man, Marlon just says whatever comes to his head. He don't really care about what he's saying. He says whatever comes to mind. He was talking about him, but I think people took it as him influencing guys to leave. And I feel like a lot of people are still mad at him. Makai said, Marlon, one of the best when it comes to playing behind the line of scrimmage. Oh, man. His run support was unbelievable. Physical, fast. And he could cover too. He just mess with him because he's like, man, if he just would get his eyes back around, he'd have so many more interceptions. Willie said, nah, he's still his guy. Makai's good with him. Hacker said he's good with him. Yeah, he's funny, man. If you know Marlon, you know his sense of humor.
More rather than Bruno Mars. You know about that, no?
Oh yeah, I'm educated on music.
Nah, I see that. Like, what's your favorite? What's your go-to? I'd love to know that.
It's always changing. I just got to keep listening to the new stuff all the time.
Like, who's your hottest singer right now?
Taylor Swift, probably.
Oh, come on.
No,
Oh my God.
I've been listening to
sweatshirt.
this punk rock performer, Charlotte Sands. She has a new album that came out last week, so I've been playing that on repeat.
Oh, wow.
Wait a minute. What is punk rock?
It's a genre.
Yeah, it's like Green Day. If you ever heard Green Day,
yeah,
it's like that.
Yeah.
Green Day. I heard of Green
Day. What about like 3 Days Grace?
No,
yeah.
I mean that song. It's a beautiful day.
Probably some.
That song.
Maybe some Christina Aguilera. Maybe.
I like her.
Huh.
You probably do like Taylor Swift. You just mentioned several women.
He probably got a couple on his playlist.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be shocked.
Punk rock. My friend Steve. Okay. Ramon.
I'll have to play some for you tomorrow, so I'll educate you.
All right.
Yeah, we'll have to hear that. Did we ever get to the? Oh no, we did get to that message. I'm sorry.
We got to get to the call.
Yeah, that's what.
Well,
it was.
Johnny says on YouTube actually that Green Day is not punk. No.
It's alternative. I would list those as more alternative rock.
Yeah, maybe so.
I'm drawing a blank, and I used to listen to all these all the time. I listen to alternative rock. Yeah, most definitely. I grew up listening to it. I mean, I feel like a lot of people actually did. I mean, Trapped. They're a good band. I did grow up. I used to be a skateboarder at one point.
Yeah. All right, let's get to Ellis.
If you Google punk rock, Green Day's right at the top. I don't know.
Yeah, Johnny, Google Green Day. Because my friend Steve showed me that, and Green Day was under punk rock. There it is. Right
I think it can vary because alternative also on my phone list because I got Green Day on my phone. That's under alternative. I think it just depends. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. Play some of them all. We'll figure it out. Let's go to the phone. Ellis, you're up next. Go right ahead.
How y'all doing this evening?
Good.
My head is like, I have no idea what punk rock is. Green Day, Green Bay. Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah, that's just, they kind of get in the middle of the floor there and bang up against each other.
Oh, no, that's you're talking about a mosh pit. You're describing a mosh pit. That's more like heavy metal.
No, I know,
concerts.
great. I like it. I like just about every kind of music. I'm a music man.
I've been in a mosh pit before.
What's mosh pit?
Oh, wow. It's where people literally everybody goes into a big crowd and they just start flailing their arms and punching and kicking. they're kicking and
I'm
punching the
serious.
air, but people are getting hit. I mean,
That sounds like violence to me. That's
You
why
know,
they
it
were all
is. It
getting
is
arrested.
kind of violent.
I was not into it. I was like, get me out of here.
Yeah, no, it's people go to these heavy metal concerts and they do that. They just start swinging, flailing their arms, punching and kicking.
Yeah.
Heavy metal, weed, there's types of that too.
It's probably there's
Probably
all types
vape.
of stuff
Probably
going
vape.
on.
Well, now you go to Monterey and they smoke that wacky weed all the time. You just smell it when you walk around there. I just had to tell y'all about the food I had yesterday. You know, y'all told me to tell y'all about it.
Yeah, how was it? What'd you order?
It was I ordered the gator bites.
How were those?
Oh, you went to the Wild Game restaurant. Yeah.
Delicious. Well, it ain't a restaurant. It's a food truck.
Oh,
those are the best ones.
And that's all they serve is wild game, wild boar, venison, elk, frog legs.
So you ordered just the gator bites?
Yeah, the gator bites. Yes,
and they're good.
Oh, they was delicious.
Nice.
Now, did you dip them in any kind of sauce?
I used some. I got some Whataburger spicy ketchup, jalapeno spicy ketchup.
Oh yeah, that's the way to go. You know, Miss Amy used to do something cool when we used to play. Florida, or I think I actually saw that they did it this year when they played USF. Just because I know their mascots, the Bulls, I believe, but you know it's a Florida school. But she'll bring in like gator for the players to eat. Kind of, in representation of the team that we're playing. So I've tried gator before a couple times when we
I've had
Florida.
gator bites. I mean, I've had those. They kind of
tastes like chicken to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna say chicken or fish bites. I mean, they're pretty good. But when I start thinking about the gators I see on the golf course, and like I can't even imagine that. That's what I'm eating. I think I know the Bible said that everything God made was good, but like it really ain't. I mean,
they say
some of that wild game is not good.
Well, they serve rattlesnake too.
I'll pass on that.
They had rattlesnake on the food truck.
Yeah. I'm not going to eat a snake.
Rattlesnake on the food truck. You know what he probably just found a rat snake in his house and cooked it.
A rattlesnake is a totally different snake than a rattlesnake.
How you know it's burnt up? It's all burnt up.
I'm not saying eating. I'm just saying in terms of just like the type of a rat snake is much different than a rattlesnake. But
let me tell you this real quick. I know we got to get out in a minute. But listen, this dude right here, Christian Miller, this guy came to my house one time, him and his friend, and I told him how, it looked like we had a field of squirrels in our backyard. They drove me nuts. I was speaking like I want to shoot the turkey. I wish I could have shot every one of those squirrels. So he comes down there and gets a cage and sets the cage out and leaves and catches squirrels. And the next day he's boiling the squirrel, peeling it, and he eats. He's making dinner for himself. So Christian, you talking to the right guy that eats all kind of stuff, wild game. It don't matter. But for me, Pastor C. Miller, no sir. I ain't eating that. I eat some fried fish. I ate some other, but I ain't eating no squirrel. I'm not eating no possum. I'm not eating no frog. I'm not eating no rattlesnake. No, thank you. Those things are not right to eat. I'm sorry.
Well, I posted it on Twitter this morning, and the donuts I got this morning. You got to see the donuts I got this morning. Ooh, Lord.
Yeah, we'll have to check those out. Before we let you go, Ellis, I will tell you this, though. A-Day's announced that it's going to be April 13th. I already know the answer to this, but I just got to confirm it. You will be at A-Day, right?
Yeah.
Oh, with bells on.
Wait a minute.
With bells? Hold on. What kind of bells?
Don't wear any bells.
Bells?
No, I'll have all my Alabama gear on. Put it that way. I will be there.
Yeah, be careful now, because people forget they're going to hold your receipts. They're going to have receipts.
and if you get down there for A-Day and you need to dress up with Alabama stuff, don't forget to go to Alumni Home, right?
That's right. Head on over to Alumni Hall to get all the latest Alabama gear for A-Day that we just announced will be April 13th. I know everybody listening probably will be in attendance. Coach DeBoer's first A-Day, so make sure that you are dressed.
We're charging $25 for NIL.
There you go.
Match Tennessee.
So go grab your Alabama gear right now from Alumni Hall in Midtown Village for the big day A-Day. Or if you can't make it in store, head on over to alumnihall.com for the ultimate Crimson Tide fan shop. Again, that's Alumni Hall right there in Midtown Village, or alumnihall.com for the latest and greatest officially licensed Alabama gear. Ellis, we appreciate you, man.
I appreciate y'all. Appreciate it. Y'all have a good evening.
You too.
Well, enjoy them donuts, them things are in the I know one thing. You eat some ground rattlesnake, you better have plenty of toilet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Your butt will be on fire. All right, we got to go for the game and Ryan Fowler. Come on, man. Noah Rogers. That's great. Christian goes down and touch. Thank you to Troy Gurley down there in Mobile, recruit for Senior Bowl, scout for Senior Bowl. Thank you so much. Hope you have Jim Nagy on as well. And we're going to keep it rocking and rolling. We appreciate all your YouTube questions, y'all. Well, if you're around following the game, he's next. Right on the time, 1:45 to 30 a.m. We'll see you wacky